Hi friends, this is Anna Hellman with Scrapping Stamping and Stuff. In my last video, I talked about how to do heat embossing for your cards and other paper projects, which gives a beautiful look. It's a beautiful technique to use. And I talked about that you need an embossing buddy to do this. Stampin' Up! Used to sell an embossing buddy, and we no longer do. So I wanted to come back and tell you how to make a DIY embossing buddy for your embossing projects. Now, some of you are probably watching, wondering, well, what in the world is an embossing buddy? Why do I need that? What this does is it removes moisture or static from your paper before you stamp. So when you do embossing, you stamp with Versamark ink, which is thick and sticky. Then you sprinkle a powder over, and you want the powder to only stick to those areas where you stamped. But often you'll find if there's any moisture or static on your paper, you'll have powder clinging to it all around in places you don't want it. Now, if it stays clung to it, you're going to have your metallic effect in those other places. You don't want that. So before you emboss, before you stamp, you want to use your embossing buddy across the surface to remove that static or any moisture. So check out my other video on embossing if you want all the details on that. But to make your own DIY embossing buddy, I'm going to show you right now how to do that. What do you need to make a DIY embossing buddy? You either need a piece of pantyhose, a knee-high would work, or just a piece of a pair of pantyhose cut off. Mine is about this long. Or I've seen where you can use a child's sock. I have not actually done this myself, but if you want to try that, that is supposed to work as well. The other thing you need is either cornstarch, which I have used, or baby powder is also supposed to work. So I'm giving my example with pantyhose and cornstarch. So we need to bring in a small cup, and we're going to stretch this piece of hose over the cup. And I want the bottom, the foot part, down inside. Now, I'm going to open up my cornstarch, and this usually makes a little bit of a mess. But I need a spoon, and I want to put a few spoonfuls down into the toe or foot part of the hose. Okay, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. Now we'll remove this carefully from the cup. We have to be careful or we will make a big mess. And what I want to do is knot this right above where that clump of cornstarch is inside. So we'll loop that through and knot it. And now we are going to pull that inside of what's left here. So I'm opening this up down into the bottom, and I'm going to flip it around through so it's back inside a second layer and knot it again. Now you will notice some of this powder is still coming out, and you need some of it to come out. Okay, the idea is that you get some to come out without a whole bunch coming out. So you can rub this over the surface of your cardstock. It will remove that static and that moisture. But if you start doing that with it, more of that powder is going to come out. So you'll want to be careful with this. You will also want to store it in some kind of plastic bag, Ziploc bag, so that that powder doesn't end up in your drawer or wherever you store it. So if you want to, you could even put this back through a third time. What I've found is that this doesn't really affect how much of that powder is going to come out, that it's going to be about the same regardless of how many times you layer that. So after you're done, you can trim off the end, and you are ready with your DIY embossing buddy. So good luck. I hope you have fun embossing, and I hope to see you again next time.